Hi guys, Colister here with another long play. For my first long play on the NSO's retro apps, being the Nintendo Entertainment System app in this case in question, I will be playing one of my favorite NES games, the original 1986 Metroid. We assume the role of Samus Aran, a bounty hunter being sent to Planet Zebes to fight against the space pirates, which plan to use the Metroids to harm galactic civilization. Metroid was iconic in that the main protagonist, Samus Aran, was a woman, although you didn't know this until the end of the game. Not necessarily a spoiler, because every Nintendo fan by now knows that Samus is a woman. And it's explicitly revealed during the games, in the later games in the series. So, yeah. After the title music loops, I will start the game. Alright, here we go. I can only make videos in 30 frames per second on my limited laptop, so you can't really see flashing images, or flickering images, I should say. Start the game by going to the left and get the Morph Ball power-up, which is a vital item. Then we go to the right here. These bat-like enemies that drop down will split into shrapnel after they land and damage you if you're close to them while they burst before you can shoot them, so keep your distance. In this particular game, you cannot crouch or shoot the cannon downward or diagonally, and the cannon also starts off with limited range. For a game that started the series and would later get several sequels with quality of life improvements, that does kind of make sense. Notice how each enemy comes in a different couple sets of different colors. The orange gamers take less shots to destroy than the red ones do, for example. If Samus rolls off of a ledge and lands on the surface while in Morph Ball mode, she will bounce. Unmorph to keep this from happening. For these fly-like enemies, I wait until they drop a pickup before I proceed around them. Because if a pickup doesn't appear, they're just gonna respawn in an instant and traumatize you a little. Right here is the first missile cartridge in the game. This will add missiles to our lineup, which you can arm and disarm by pressing select, minus in the case of the Nintendo Switch. You can hold up to 5 at first, and every missile cartridge you get in the game from there will increase your Optimus C by 5. Get as many as you conveniently can. You need lots of them for the final boss. And the stage with the final boss. The only problem that I have with the original Metroid is that, like a lot of other NES games, the format of the stages in the game is repetitive. I'm mainly talking about the areas in the game other than, like, the most notorious examples in the game are Brinstar Depths and Norfair. Not so much Brinstar and Tourian. This is a power-up room, where I'm about to get the first power-up in the game besides the Morph Ball and the missiles. Power-ups are guarded by a red bubble door. Opening them requires 5 shots with a missile. Then you shoot the ball held by the Chozo statue. And we have the long beam. Now the bullet shot from the beam can go maximum distance. You have a triple shot maximum for rapid firing. So, keep that in mind as well. Missiles are single fire. You can only shoot 1 missile on screen at once. I need to get 5 missiles again as quickly as possible, so I need to look for 3 missile icons. Alright, there's 1 missile icon I needed. Here's another one. Now we can get the Morph Ball bombs. Because I haven't really played this game in a while. I've been way too busy with Namco arcade games because I love them so much. It kind of hurts my memory about the game just a little bit, so I had to go into some places here and there throughout the playthrough, just to remember where I exactly had to go. Though my memory is still pretty good, where this game is concerned. There is also one part in the entire playthrough in this video where I use the rewind function. And it's the part where you have to climb up the destructible blocks after you defeat Kraid. Which is by far the worst part of the game. Other than that, this is a legitimate playthrough. A lot of home console games tend to be a lot easier than a lot of arcade games, understandably. This is where I need to go right now. You have to be careful not to fall into the acid, because that'll damage you as you stay in it. And you have to kind of wait until you land on the ground underneath it before you can jump out of it. Here's the first energy tank. These increase your maximum vitality by 100 points. In the original Metroid, you can hold up to 6. However, there are actually 8 of them in the game. Yeah. Because there is a limit to energy tanks in the game, the original Metroid is a game I'm not bothered to 100% at all. I just go for an any percent while not neglecting useful power-up items. In Super Metroid and onwards, I actually complete those games in full. Like Super Metroid, I know practically by heart where every single item in that game is, and I can 100% that game. And then Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance actually have hints as to where the items you're missing are in the game on the map after you any percent the game. And Metroid Dread, the new game on the Switch, also has ways to help you find the items you're missing in every part of the game with the map, even before you any percent the game. Alright, here's the Morph Ball Bombs. Of course, in all the later games, there are some areas you can't reach until you get certain items. And the later games are pretty notorious for having some items in every stage where, you can't reach them until you get what you're supposed to get last of the main power-ups. Like, in Zero Mission and Dread, that would be the Power Bomb, for example. Alright, let me try to get 5 missiles in my inventory again. I need one more pickup. There are many secrets throughout the Metroid series, in every game, that you can find by, shooting or dropping bombs. It just so happens that the acid on this part is fake, with a hidden block you can stand on it. And there is a special secret down here. Because enemies can attack you right as soon as you enter a certain chamber in some parts of the game, it's impossible to beat this game, really, without taking any damage. I accidentally hit the capture button on my Pro controller, reaching for the minus. So, yeah. This little secret in the game allows you to get the ice beam early. Enemies that go on the ground are also a bit less scary now that I have the bombs. One shot with the ice beam will freeze an enemy in place, and another shot will unfreeze and damage them. You can safely touch and stand upon frozen enemies. Now I just need to jump at the right moment to get out of here. If a disappearing block reassembles right on top of Samus's legs, she can take damage and get bounced aside. I managed to get out of there without taking damage, interestingly. See how I froze that enemy and destroyed it with the bombs? Useful tactic. Alright, so after getting the morph ball bombs and the ice beam, what I'm going to do next is go to Norfair. Can't neglect missile pickups. You have to be careful about the bugs that come out of the pots while using a bubble door to warp to a new location, because if they fly off the screen in the direction directly where a bubble door is and you enter it, you can take damage from the enemy. That's kind of like a ghosting kind of problem. So move in the opposite direction a little bit after that happens to prevent that from happening. Another kind of technical issue the original Metroid has is that you will often shoot a double shot with your beam after tapping the shoot button just once. Every so often. And that does matter if you have the ice beam. And just want to freeze an enemy in place instead of actually destroying them. In this part of Norfair, I just freeze enemies and then destroy them with a missile until I get the screw attack. While it looks like this is a dead end, there's actually a secret tunnel you can go through with the morph ball and your bombs. And that'll lead us to even more missiles. These little geysers. These little enemies will dash right into your direction if you approach them. This is a dead end. Come on, fatty. Come on, fatty. There we go. Can't leave missiles behind. Wow, I'm gonna have to wait for that guy to thaw out before I can progress. If an enemy you shoot with the beam is indestructible, you have to wait for them to thaw out before they can unfreeze and then get frozen in a different position. This is where a power-up can be found. Except this is where you're ordinarily supposed to get the ice beam. Which I already have. There is also a wave beam in this game, in the deep depths of the Norfair stage, which I'm not going to get in the playthrough, because the wave beam cancels the effect of the ice beam, and you require the ice beam to get past the Metroids in Tourian. So therefore, I deem the wave beam to be unnecessary, even though it is more powerful than the standard beam. Ha! I got both of them with the same missile. Master opponent. More missile tanks up ahead. Even more missile tanks here. While doing the flip jump, Samus can be a little bit hard to keep control of while in the air during her descent. So to cancel her flipping, just shoot the beam. And then the air control can be slightly better. The swooping enemies wait for you to jump before they go back up in this game. Wow. Use the explosion of a morph ball bomb to bounce up and reach certain gaps. Samus does not take damage from her own bombs. Alright, now we're gonna go down here and get a much more important item to have. The high jump boots increase your maximum jumping heights. There's another, just as useful item just behind here. You gotta be careful around the lava seahorses. We're not gonna stay in this part of Norfair for long. There's one item I want to get here. Nice try. The screw attack. In my opinion, that's a somewhat reckless name for a power-up. Anyway, if you jump and flip, your flipping can destroy enemies on contact. This will save me from having to use missiles to destroy certain frozen enemies. If you want to go into the deep depths of that part of Norfair and get the wave beam at your own will, keep in mind that there are some parts in that stage where if you get hit off or fall off into the lava, you cannot recover back to the ground, and you'll essentially be screwed. So, that part of the game can also be dangerous. That's another problem the original Metroid has compared to later games in the series. Actual deadlocks. The game uses a continue option linked to a password system. If Samus dies, you're given a password after the game over message, and you can record it somewhere and use the password again so you can restart at the start of the part of the Planet Zebes you left off on, like the elevator shaft of where you previously were, and continue with the power-ups you collected, only having to recharge your health and missile ammunition. Also, if you respawn after a game over, there are also some weird elements that'll alt back and forth, like the lava seahorse-like aliens will alt shooting fire and not shooting fire, and the bouncing type enemies that you see in Brinstar depths and Norfair depths will also jump shorter height for some reason. One important note to know about the screw attack also is that in this game... Wow, that was horribly distracted, that missile pickup. The screw attack and your flipping jump will only last in accordance with your base jumping position. So if you jump from a higher ledge to a lower one, your flipping and in turn the screw attack will cancel once you descend lower from where you first jumped. That can be dangerous if enemies are underneath you in that position. We're going back to Brinstar now that I got these super useful items. The amount of damage that Samus takes in this game is also dependent on your location. You take the least amount of damage in Brinstar, then it's Brinstar Depths, then Norfair Depths, and you take the most damage in Tourian. These non-destructible enemies that move from side to side, and the jumpers you saw in Norfair. The different colored ones appear to be destructible. Though that's not exactly the case with the beam. You can only destroy those enemies, like the red ones and these ones, with the screw attack. And the common colored ones are totally indestructible. There are crawler-type enemies throughout these tunnels, so you have to progress carefully. I couldn't see them fast enough. Very easy to miss power-up up ahead. Stuck in the middle of these crawlers. Their actual name is the Gamers. I only know that because of a trophy in Smash for 3DS. And because these enemies were in it in Smash Run. So with this, we have the Varia Suits. A little fun fact you might already know. The Varia Suit was intended to be called the Barrier Suit, which makes sense for what the power-up does. It decreases the amount of damage you receive by half. And Varia was a mistranslation, because of the weird way that Japanese speakers pronounce certain English words, and the fact that some letters share the same Japanese characters. Like, the Japanese characters for B and V are the same. Kinda like the R and L situation that a lot of games also have. I'm not letting this one get away. This is Vengeance. Got a missile tank here. Got an energy tank here, even better. Now we're gonna do a boring section where I run right back through a part of Brinstar we already were before. Alright, going back down to Norfair. Going down. I'm actually going to do Ridley before Kraid. I do that in pretty much every single original Metroid playthrough. Because I find Ridley as a boss to be easier than Kraid. Significantly, to be honest. Nope, there's no secret here. This is where the secret is. It's just a missile tank, just so you know. Now, some of the blocks that you see where the missile tanks are in Ridley's lair, or Norfair depths as I call it, are invisible pitfalls into the lava, so you gotta be careful around them, and memorize where they are. That's a really bad place to have those bugs frozen. There we go. Now, to get through this part, there is a destructible block at the beginning just where The final pillar, as you see there, and you just roll through a tunnel underneath it in morph ball form. That's the answer to how do I get up through there. There's actually an invisible pitfall just before this energy tank. Jump once you get like 3 blocks before it. They have a pitfall there, and it takes you to a part where if you fall again, you have to go a long way through the stage to get back up to it and try again. They did that specifically to troll the player. They're like, nope, it's not that easy. I can never make that jump, let alone on command. What's behind that door is a path that leads to a missile tank, just so you know. It's not like I need every single one. And right there is the cunning god of death himself. In this game, he just jumps up and down and shoots plasma breath bullets. I like to wait for them to go out a bit before freezing them in place. Usually having one directly in front of him, and then just shoot missiles at him. I'm freezing the plasma breath bullets at the very wrong places in this playthrough, though, so it's making it hard for me to land hits on them. After you kill Ridley, you're given several missiles as a bonus for your inventory. And then the door behind him takes 10 missiles to open, and leads you to an energy tank. There are invisible pitfalls in this lava that are hard to remember where they are. So, keep that in mind. Here it is. A well-aimed bounce on a bomb will get you through there. You're gonna have a lot of these bouncing fireballs as you go through here. While going through the short tunnel section, if you see a fireball flickering at the very right of the screen, where they're about to appear, you can freeze them with the ice beam so you can lock them in advance and avoid having them hit you and making you take damage. I had no reason to go in here at all. You see that sealed off room where a missile tank is supposed to be? That hard to make gap jump that I failed earlier before the boss is how you get that missile tank in question. This part of the room is simply a troll. There's an energy tank hidden in the ceiling just before that part, if you wait for a gamer to crawl all the way up on the other side. So, now we're going to Brinstar Depths, where we're gonna confront Kraid, the other boss we must defeat before we can access Tourian. There's a missile tank behind this door, and then from there, in it, we need to go no further. I called this chamber after where the missile tank is the Pointless Room. Because it's pointless. There's no reason to go there at all. Of course, you do have to go that way in Metroid Zero Mission. They corrected the problem, basically. Can't fool me that easily. There's pretty much no way you can avoid damage coming out of the doors like this in this part of the game. It's a bad place for me to land in the acid. Dang! I'm gonna have to get it like this. There we go. There's actually more than one way that you can reach the boss in Brinstar Depths. This is one of the ways. The other way requires you to find a secret by dropping bombs on the ground on one spot in one of the tunnels in the lower sections. Another important note is that the enemies that scroll in the descents in some parts, especially in Brinstar Depths, will not always spawn. So, it's kind of a 50-50 chance as to whether you can access this part of the stage that way in some playthroughs. So here's where we confront Kraid. Kraid is much more difficult than Ridley in this game, in my opinion. If you freeze the middle body spike, it'll stay there, and then you can't damage him until it thaws out. And it's extremely easy to take damage with his attacks, so you have to aim very carefully. You can damage him with the bombs, though, if that helps. If you can freeze the middle spike after it gets shot, then he's wide open for attack, as such. Notice how Ridley and Kraid are not, like, giant in this game. That's mainly because of NES hardware limitations. They weren't able to be the giant sizes that they're supposed to be until Super Metroid. Luckily, there's a well-hidden energy tank here. Which I definitely needed. Because Kraid sucks in this game. Sucks as in is terrible to fight against, not is terrible of a fighter. Alright, this is the only part of the entire playthrough where I use the rewind. Because this part just sucks, trying to climb up these blocks as they reassemble. If they reassemble onto you at the wrong moment, you take damage and get bounced off. And then you have to start over again from the bottom of it. Can't neglect missiles. You see how the insect hit me, returning through the bubble door? I recklessly returned to this place, thinking about the area I was in earlier and if there was another pathway above where I had the camera out of reach. And there wasn't. There was just a dead end up there. So I had to go right back through again. Repetition, repetition. It'll all be over with soon, though. Like I said before, the most you can have compatibly in this game is 6 energy tanks, even though there are actually 8 in the game. So it's not like I need the one that was in this part of Brinstar at all. That's not where I need to go. I'm saving the game before I proceed, just in case I run out of missile ammunition while facing the Metroids. You got these statues of Ridley and Kraid here. You have to defeat the bosses, and then shoot the statues, and they'll form a bridge that will allow you to access Tourian. The only way to destroy Metroids is to freeze them and then shoot them with 5 missiles while they're frozen. They are also much more likely to give you health than missile ammunition. And depending on how much missiles you actually have confronting Tourian, that can be dangerous. There are also Rinkas that appear 3x3 and can corner you and seriously damage you. They can also be dangerous. Try to freeze them without destroying them. The green Metroids move faster than the yellow ones do. And if a Metroid latches onto you, it'll dangerously deplete your health. You can slake them off if you drop bombs on them enough and act quickly. This part of the game with the Metroids is why you cannot use the wave beam. Especially if you want to beat the game as quickly as possible to get the better endings. Ah, get off me. Well, missiles-wise, I should be fine. Now I got the big old brain to take down. You have to freeze the Rinkas in place in order to really survive this. If you're quick, 8 missiles can destroy the plasma barriers. If you're not quick, they'll regenerate. The Rinkas and the cannons can wear down your health really quickly. So, be extra careful around them. That was a really bad place to have them frozen. So annoying. There, I got it. It was probably a good idea that Nintendo slowed down rapid flashing screens on all the games on their retro NSO apps because of, you know, concerns regarding seizures. Then, you know, after that you have to escape the planet before the chamber explodes. And it involves jumping across very narrow platforms. And we are out of here. So, the protagonist was a woman after all. In most of the games in the classic series, you get a different ending screen depending on how quickly you beat the game. In the original Metroid, basically the faster you beat the game, the more of Samus you get to see at the end. If it takes you more than 8 hours, she just holds up her fist like a victory gesture. If it takes you between 3 and 8 hours, she just removes her helmet to reveal that she's a woman. If you beat the game in between 1 and 3 hours, she removes the whole power suit and is in a leotard, like the one you saw. And if you beat the game in less than 1 hour, which is possible, she strips down to a bikini. Alright, so, that was my long play of the original Metroid. I do intend to play some other games on the NES app and the other retro NSO apps as well on my channel, so you can stay tuned for those. Just remember, I will not take requests for long plays. I will take requests for DeviantArt, just not YouTube. And I'm doing better on DeviantArt than YouTube anyway, for sure. Alright, now here's another easy-to-miss detail. If you get the Leotard ending after you start the game on another loop from the end screen, you get to play as Samus without the power suit. This is cosmetic and does not affect the game in any way. It's just a neat little Easter egg. Alright, so, that's it for this long play. Consider subscribing if you like retro Nintendo games or arcade games by Namco, or other franchises like Mega Man or Crash and Spyro, because I'll be doing those as well on my channel. I am Crowlister, the Master of Ponage. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in my next video.